The marble halls of the galactic Concordats Grand Assembly stretched endlessly upward, their crystalline surfaces refracting starlight from 1,000 distant suns. Commander Maya Patel stood straight-backed in her dress uniform, fighting to keep her expression neutral as yet another alien delegate spoke over her presentation. These humans still use combustion engines for their ground vehicles. The Xerex representative chittered, his mantis-like appendages clicking in what Maya had learned was their species' equivalent of derisive laughter. They haven't even established colonies beyond their singular moon. Maya resisted the urge to point out that humanity had, in fact, established multiple research bases across their solar system. Instead, she continued displaying the cultural and technological achievements Earth hoped would earn them full membership in the Concordat. The holographic display showed Earth's rapid advancement from the industrial age to the modern era, emphasizing their achievements in medicine, computing, and environmental restoration. The speed of human technological development is precisely why we believe Earth would make a valuable addition to the Concordat, Maya stated, her voice steady despite her growing frustration. Our ability to innovate and adapt. Innovation without refinement is merely stumbling in the dark, interrupted Sovereign Kextel of the Estrene Empire. The Sovereign's crystalline form pulsed with bands of dismissive purple light. Your species has barely mastered gravitic field manipulation. You still rely on primitive nuclear fission for much of your power generation. Maya caught the eye of Dr. James Chen, Earth's chief scientific advisor, who sat quietly in the observer's gallery. He gave her the slightest of nods, their prearranged signal to continue playing their assigned roles. Let them think Earth primitive. Let them underestimate. We acknowledge our technological limitations, Maya conceded, the words bitter in her mouth. Earth simply seeks provisional membership status, with access to the Concordat's educational and cultural exchange programs. The next 3 hours passed in a blur of thinly veiled insults and patronizing questions. The Concordat's member species, most of whom had achieved faster-than-light travel centuries or millennia before humanity, seemed to take pleasure in highlighting Earth's primitive status. Only the Novari, a species of energy beings who rarely participated in Concordat politics, showed any real interest in humanity's potential. Their representative, a swirling aurora of blue-green light, asked thoughtful questions about human art and philosophy. As the session concluded, the Concordat Council delivered their verdict. Earth would be granted observer status only, with limited access to the most basic technological databases. Any further advancement in status would require significant technological development. Return when you've mastered basic antimatter containment, Sovereign Kextel suggested, their crystalline form now glowing with smug violet hues, perhaps in another century or two. Maya maintained her diplomatic composure until she and Dr. Chen reached their secured quarters aboard their ship, the TNS Magellan. Only then did she allow herself a small smile. They bought it, she said, removing her dress uniform jacket. Hook, line, and sinker, as my grandfather would say. Chen nodded, already activating their quantum-encrypted communication link to Earth. The holographic display showed Admiral Sarah Hassan, her dark eyes intense as she awaited their report. Complete success, Admiral, Maya reported. They've dismissed us exactly as we hoped. The Estrenes were particularly condescending, which should make their eventual surprise even more satisfying. Excellent work, both of you, Hassan replied. Project Neptune remains completely off their sensors. They don't even think to look for quantum signature masking, Chen said, unable to keep the pride from his voice. Their scanning technology is sophisticated, but it's built on conventional paradigms. They're searching for standard energy emissions, gravimetric distortions, dark matter manipulation. They have no concept of what we've actually achieved. Hassan's image nodded. The Neptune yards are operating at full capacity. The first fleet will be ready within 6 months. Until then, maintain the charade. Let them think us children playing with toys. As the transmission ended, Maya walked to the observation window. The Concordat's massive station hung in space before them, a triumph of engineering built by species who thought themselves the peak of civilization. Species who believed they had nothing to learn from primitive humanity. They would learn otherwise, soon enough. In the secret shipyards of Neptune, humanity's true technological achievements were taking shape. Ships that didn't just manipulate gravity, they rewrote the laws of physics themselves. Quantum computers that made the Concordat's AI systems look like ancient calculators. Weapons that could end wars before they began. Earth had learned long ago that appearing weak while being strong was far better than the reverse. They had watched how the Concordat's member species interacted, noted their political divisions and technological stagnation. Most importantly, they had seen how the powerful members treated those they considered inferior. "They mock what they don't understand," Chen said quietly, joining her at the window. "And they don't understand humanity at all." Maya thought of the quantum drives being installed in Earth's hidden fleet, of the breakthroughs their scientists had achieved, while the rest of the galaxy dismissed them as primitives. She thought of humanity's history, of countless civilizations that had fallen because they underestimated supposedly primitive opponents. "We'll show them understanding soon enough," she replied. "But for now, let them laugh. Every joke at our expense is another advantage when the time comes." The Magellan began its departure sequence, its primitive engines making more noise than necessary, its outdated sensors broadcasting their presence to all. Maya watched the Concordat station recede into the distance, knowing that humanity's greatest achievement wasn't their hidden technology, it was their patience. The galaxy thought they were watching humanity's first stumbling steps into a larger universe. Instead, they were witnessing the greatest deception in interstellar history. And when the truth was finally revealed, those mocking laughs would stop very, very quickly. Deep beneath the ice sheets of Neptune's moon Triton, Director Elena Santos walked through corridors that officially didn't exist. The massive underground facility, known only as the Forge, stretched for kilometers through the moon's crust. Here, hidden from the galaxy's prying eyes, humanity's true technological prowess took shape. "Status report," she commanded, entering the main control center. The vast chamber buzzed with activity, hundreds of engineers and scientists monitoring the construction of Earth's secret fleet. Dr. Raj Patel, head of quantum propulsion, looked up from his holoscreen. "The key D7 drives are exceeding expectations, Director. We've achieved stable quantum tunneling at ranges previously thought impossible. The Concordat's fastest ships would look like they're standing still compared to what we've built." Elena nodded, studying the massive display that dominated the chamber's far wall. It showed the skeletal framework of the TSS Leviathan, humanity's first true quantum dreadnought. At 3 kilometers long, it would dwarf anything in known space. But its size wasn't what made it special. "Show me the weapons test results," she ordered. Another scientist, Dr. Sarah Chen, brought up a new display. The data scrolling across it would have shocked any Concordat physicist into incoherence. "The quantum cascade cannons performed perfectly in the Kuiper Belt trials," Sarah reported. "One shot can disable any known shielding technology. The best part, the energy signatures are completely masked. As far as conventional sensors are concerned, these weapons don't even exist." Elena allowed herself a small smile. While the galaxy mocked humanity's primitive technology, they had quietly mastered principles of physics that other species hadn't even theorized. The quantum revolution hadn't just changed their understanding of the universe, it had rendered most conventional technology obsolete. "Message from Surface Command," announced the facility's AI, its voice resonating through quantum channels that no alien technology could detect. "Priority Alpha." The main screen shifted to show Admiral Hassan's face. Her expression was grave. "Director Santos, how soon can the Leviathan be ready for deployment?" Elena exchanged glances with her team. "We're still 3 months from completion of the primary systems." "Why? What's changed?" "The Kryaxian Empire has begun aggressive expansion near human space. They've already conquered 2 Concordat worlds, and their ambassador just delivered what amounts to a protection racket demand to Earth's representatives. The control room fell silent. The Kriaxians were among the most militant species in known space, renowned for their advanced weapons technology and utter disdain for lesser races. They had been particularly vocal about humanity's primitive status in Concordat meetings. They're demanding we provide them with resources and colonial territory, Hassan continued. In exchange, they'll protect us from the dangers of space. We have one standard month to comply. Elena's jaw tightened. They think we're helpless. Exactly. And for now, we need them to keep thinking that. But we also need to accelerate our timeline. The Concordat is proving useless. They're too fractured to stand up to the Kriaxians effectively. What about the other projects? Elena asked. The quantum defense grid, the stealth satellites, already deployed throughout Sol system, Hassan replied. Earth appears defenseless to their scans, which is exactly what we want. But I need that ship, Elena. If the Kriaxians push too hard, too fast. Understood, Admiral. We'll initiate emergency protocols. I'll have new completion estimates for you within the hour. As the transmission ended, Elena turned to her team. You heard the situation. As of now, we're on round-the-clock shifts. I want all non-essential projects suspended. Every resource we have goes to the Leviathan. The chamber erupted into focused activity. Engineers rushed to their stations, scientists pulled up project files, and the massive fabrication bays, deep beneath them, hummed with increased power. Dr. Patel, Elena called. Can we compress the quantum drive calibration sequence? Raj studied his calculations. It's risky, but yes. We've been extraordinarily cautious with the testing. If we're willing to accept slightly lower safety margins, do it. Sarah, same question about the weapons systems. Already on it. We can parallel process the targeting algorithms. It won't be as refined as we planned, but it'll be more than enough to handle anything the Kriaxians have. Elena walked to the observation window overlooking the main construction bay. The Leviathan's quantum black hull absorbed all light that touched it, making it appear like a ship-shaped void in space. Soon, that void would carry humanity's message to the stars. They think they're the hunters, she murmured. They don't realize they're about to become the prey. Over the next 3 weeks, the forge operated at maximum capacity. Teams worked in shifts around the clock, pushing the boundaries of what was possible with their revolutionary technology. The Leviathan grew from a framework to a fully realized vessel, its systems representing technological advances that would reshape the galaxy. Regular reports arrived from Earth's diplomatic team, each one detailing more Kriaxian aggression. Their ships now patrolled the edges of Sol system, their sensors probing for defenses that they couldn't detect. Their ambassadors became more demanding, their threats less veiled. Let them think us weak, Elena thought as she watched the final quantum drive components being installed. Let them think us primitive and helpless. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had never been either of those things. They had simply been patient and very, very good at keeping secrets. The holographic display in Earth's Concordat embassy showed dozens of distress signals, each representing another world under Kriaxian attack. Ambassador Maya Patel watched the tragedy unfold with carefully constructed helplessness, while inside she seethed with controlled rage. Your species must understand. Grand Admiral Crix of the Kriaxian Empire sneered, his scaled face dominating the embassy's main screen. The strong protect the weak. It is the natural order. Simply accept our protection, provide the requested resources, and your primitive world will be safe. Maya maintained her facade of nervous diplomacy. The terms you propose would bankrupt our economy, Admiral. Surely there's room for negotiation. Negotiation. Crix laughed, the sound like grinding metal. Perhaps you misunderstand your position. Even now, our fleet approaches your system. Your pitiful defenses cannot hope to resist us. Accept our terms, or face extinction. As if to emphasize his point, another distress signal appeared on the display. The colony world of New Haven, population 5 million, had just fallen to Kriaxian forces. Their advanced defensive systems had lasted less than an hour. We need time to consider, Maya stammered, playing her role perfectly. Our government must discuss. You have 48 standard hours, Crix interrupted. After that, we will demonstrate why the galaxy's primitive species should fear their betters. The transmission cut off. Maya waited exactly 30 seconds before activating her quantum-encrypted channel to Neptune. Admiral Hassan's image appeared instantly. Status? Maya asked, dropping all pretense of weakness. The Leviathan is ready, Hassan replied. Final systems check completed 20 minutes ago. We're just waiting for the Kriaxians to commit their forces. Maya nodded. Their main fleet is gathering near Jupiter's orbit. 17 capital ships, plus support vessels. They're making quite a show of it. Of course they are. Hassan's smile was predatory. They want everyone to witness how easily they crush the primitive humans. Speaking of which, how's the Concordat reacting? Exactly as expected. Most species are expressing deep concern while doing absolutely nothing. The Estrenes are actually suggesting we surrender immediately to minimize casualties. And our quantum grid is still undetected. Completely. Our primitive sensors are broadcasting all sorts of panicked activity, but they haven't spotted a single quantum satellite. Director Santos's stealth systems are performing perfectly. Hassan's image flickered as she received another report. The Kriaxians have just demanded that all Concordat observers leave Sol's system. They're claiming they don't want diplomatic complications when they pacify Earth. Perfect. Maya's eyes gleamed. They want an audience for their victory. Let's give them something else to watch instead. How long until the Leviathan can deploy? Captain Chen reports all systems go. We're just waiting for the right moment. Once the Kriaxians commit their fleet, they won't be able to retreat quickly enough. A new alert flashed across Maya's screen. The Kriaxian fleet had begun its advance, their ships moving into attack formation. Their energy signatures blazed across space, a deliberate show of power meant to intimidate. Ambassador Patel. A new transmission cut in. It was Sovereign Kextel of the Estrenes. We are monitoring the situation. Please be reasonable. The Kriaxians' technology is centuries ahead of Earth's capabilities. Surrender is your only logical option. Maya allowed her voice to tremble slightly. We understand, Sovereign. But surely the Concordat won't simply stand by and watch. We express our deepest sympathies. Kextel's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been genuine regret. But we cannot risk our own worlds by opposing the Kriaxian fleet. Perhaps in time, your species can rebuild under their protection. The transmission ended. Maya straightened her uniform and opened the quantum channel again. Admiral, I believe it's time. The galaxy wants to see what happens when primitives face their betters. I say we show them. Agreed. Sending the activation signal now. The Leviathan will emerge from quantum space in 5 minutes. Try to keep the Kriaxians talking until then. Maya opened a channel to the approaching fleet. Admiral Crix, please respond. We wish to discuss your terms. The Kriaxian's face appeared again, his expression triumphant. Have you come to your senses, primitive? Will you submit to your natural superiors? Actually, Maya allowed herself a small, genuine smile. We have a counter-proposal. Counter-proposal? Crix barked with laughter. Your species truly doesn't understand its position. Our fleet will reach weapons range in 10 minutes. Perhaps a demonstration of our power will. He stopped suddenly, his alien features showing clear confusion. What is that? Maya didn't need to look at her displays to know what was happening. The Leviathan would be emerging from quantum space now, its massive form appearing like a hole in reality itself. The first true quantum dreadnought humanity had ever built, about to make its debut on the galactic stage. That Admiral, Maya said, dropping all pretense of weakness from her voice, is humanity's response to bullies. I suggest you watch carefully. You're about to learn why you should never judge a species by its apparent limitations. The real show was about to begin, and Maya intended to savor every moment of it. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the TSS Leviathan, watching as her ship emerged from quantum space directly between Earth and the approaching Kriaxian fleet. The quantum black hull of humanity's first super-dreadnought absorbed all light that touched it, making the massive vessel appear like a tear in the fabric of space itself. "All systems nominal," reported Commander Jackson from his tactical station. "Quantum shields at full power. Weapons grid online. The Kriaxians, they've completely stopped their advance." "Of course they have," Sarah said quietly. "They're trying to figure out what they're looking at." She activated the ship's external communications. "Kriaxian fleet, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran spaceship Leviathan. You are ordered to withdraw from Sol system immediately." Admiral Crix's face appeared on the main screen, his alien features twisted with confusion and rage. "What trickery is this? Earth has no such technology. Your species can barely achieve basic spaceflight." "A common misconception," Sarah replied calmly. "One we've been carefully cultivating for quite some time. Would you like a demonstration of what humanity can really do?" "This is some kind of deception," Crix snarled. "Scan that ship. Full spectrum analysis." Sarah allowed herself a small smile as the Kriaxian sensors washed over the Leviathan. She knew exactly what they would find. Nothing. The quantum stealth systems absorbed or redirected all conventional scanning methods. "Impossible," one of Crix's officers reported, audible panic in his voice. "Our sensors, they can't get any readings. It's like the ship isn't even there." "Oh, we're very much here," Sarah said. "Commander Jackson, please give our guests a small demonstration. Target their lead destroyer with the quantum lance. Minimum power." A beam of distorted space-time lanced out from the Leviathan, barely visible as a ripple in reality. It touched the Kriaxian destroyer's shields, shields that could supposedly withstand the combined firepower of a dozen conventional battleships. The shields didn't just fail. They ceased to exist, the quantum-based weapon simply erasing the energy field from existence. The destroyer itself remained untouched, but now floated completely defenseless in space. What did you do?" Crix demanded, real fear creeping into his voice. "We rewrote the laws of physics in a localized area," Sarah explained, as if teaching a child. "Your shields depend on certain universal constants remaining constant. We simply adjusted those constants briefly." The bridge of the Leviathan hummed with barely contained power. The quantum core at the heart of the ship generated more energy than a small star, but in ways that conventional physics said were impossible. "You're bluffing," Crix said, but his voice wavered. "This is some kind of trick. All ships, open fire. Destroy this human deception." The Kriaxian fleet launched everything they had: plasma torpedoes, particle beams, antimatter warheads. The space around the Leviathan lit up with enough firepower to crack a small moon. None of it touched the ship. The quantum shields didn't just block the attacks, they caused them to cease existing before they could make contact. "I think that's enough," Sarah said firmly. "Commander Jackson, initiate containment protocol." The Leviathan's main weapon array powered up. Not the quantum lance that had been a love tap. This was the ship's true power, the culmination of decades of secret human advancement. Space itself seemed to bend around the Kriaxian fleet. Their ships suddenly found themselves unable to move, trapped in a bubble of altered reality where their advanced engines had no effect. "What are you doing to us?" Crix demanded, panic now evident in his voice. "Currently," Sarah replied, "we're demonstrating why it's unwise to judge a species by its apparent level of technology. Your entire fleet is now contained within a quantum stasis field. Your weapons can't function because the physical laws they depend on have been temporarily suspended in your vicinity." She stood from her captain's chair, walking closer to the main screen. You came to our system believing you would find an easy conquest, a primitive species that would bow before your superior technology. Instead, you found that humanity has simply been patient and very good at keeping secrets. The quantum field around the Cryaxian fleet pulsed with power, completely nullifying their ability to fight or flee. On screens across the galaxy, representatives of the Concordat watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed its true face. Now then, Sarah continued, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human innovation and determination. Let's discuss the immediate withdrawal of all Cryaxian forces from Concordat space. After that, we can talk about reparations for the worlds you've attacked. And then, perhaps, the galaxy can have a long overdue conversation about the true meaning of civilization. The silence that followed was broken only by the quiet hum of the Leviathan's quantum core, a sound that would soon become very familiar to a galaxy that had just discovered its assumptions about humanity had been catastrophically wrong. 3 months after the Leviathan incident, as it came to be known throughout the galaxy, Ambassador Maya Patel stood once again in the Grand Assembly of the Galactic Concordat. The marble halls felt different now, no longer intimidating, but simply impressive in their scale. The changes were subtle but unmistakable. Where once there had been dismissive glances and patronizing smiles, now there were cautious looks and respectful nods. The revelation of humanity's true technological capabilities had shaken the foundations of galactic society. "The floor recognizes the representative from Earth," announced the Assembly President, a Novari whose energy form flickered with curious patterns. Maya approached the central podium, her steps measured and confident. "Distinguished representatives of the Concordat, I come before you today not as a supplicant, but as an equal. The events of the past months have demonstrated that appearances can be deceiving and assumptions can be dangerous." The Cryaxian delegation was notably absent. Their empire had withdrawn to their core systems after the Leviathan demonstrated humanity's quantum technology. The worlds they had conquered were free again, protected now by a joint peacekeeping force, led by human ships. Humanity kept its advances secret not out of malice, Maya continued, but out of necessity. We watched how the powerful treated those they considered inferior. We observed how technological advantages were used to dominate rather than elevate. We chose a different path. Sovereign Kextel's crystalline form pulsed with colors that indicated embarrassment. The Astrines had been among the most vocal in dismissing Earth as primitive. Now they were desperately trying to understand how they had misread humanity so completely. "The quantum technologies we developed represent more than just military power," Maya explained. "They offer solutions to problems that have plagued our galaxy for generations: clean energy, environmental restoration, medical breakthroughs. We are prepared to share these advances, not as weapons, but as tools for progress." The assembly chamber buzzed with excited whispers. The demonstration of the Leviathan's capabilities had been impressive, but the prospect of accessing human quantum technology for peaceful purposes was even more enticing. However, Maya's voice grew firm. "This sharing comes with conditions. The era of technological supremacy being used to bully and dominate ends now. Earth proposes a new Concordat charter, one that emphasizes cooperation over competition, elevation over subjugation." In orbit above the Concordat homeworld, the Leviathan hung in space like a reminder of humanity's hidden strength. But it was no longer alone. The TSS Prometheus and TSS Phoenix had joined it, revealing more of Earth's advanced fleet. Each ship represented decades of secret development, now serving as silent guardians of a new galactic order. "We kept our advances hidden because we had to," Maya said. "Now we reveal them because we choose to. Earth extends an open hand to all species who wish to build a better future together." But her voice carried a note of steel. "We will not tolerate the strong preying upon the weak. Those days are over." The assembly erupted in discussion. Species that had once looked down on humanity now scrambled to establish closer ties. The Novari, who had shown interest in human potential from the beginning, proposed immediate cultural exchange programs. Back on the Leviathan, Captain Chen watched the proceedings with satisfaction. "They're finally starting to understand," she said to Admiral Hassan's holographic image. "Understanding comes in many forms," Hassan replied. "Some learn through wisdom, others through demonstration. The important thing is that they're learning." The quantum core hummed quietly, a sound that had become synonymous with humanity's emergence as a galactic power. But it wasn't just power that humanity had revealed. It was a different way of thinking, a different approach to civilization itself. As Maya concluded her address, she looked out at the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. "We kept ourselves hidden, not because we were weak, but because we were waiting for the right moment to make a real difference. That moment has arrived. The question now is who will join us in building something better." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Species after species pledged support for Earth's proposals. The galaxy was changing, and humanity, the supposedly primitive newcomers, were leading that change. In the depths of space, quantum satellites quietly monitored the galaxy, ensuring peace through vigilance. On Earth, more advanced ships were under construction, each one representing not just military power, but the potential for exploration, discovery, and progress. The galaxy had laughed at Earth once. Now they listened when humanity spoke, not because of fear, but because they had finally learned what humanity had known all along. True civilization isn't measured by the power of your weapons or the age of your technology, but by how you choose to use them. A new dawn had arrived for the galaxy. And this time, humanity would help ensure it was a dawn that benefited everyone, not just the powerful few. Would you like me to help create the SEO-optimized title and description for this story now?